Hey guys, welcome to the level 1 geometric reasoning paper from 2022. If you're joining us for the first time, the way this video works is that I go through each question and let you guys know what you need to do for achieve merit and excellence. The best way to watch this video is to pause the video at the start of each question, try it out by yourself, and then unpause the video just to see how I go about working the answers. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright folks, so just a bit of a reminder that your calculator is probably reset when you come into the exam. So the first thing you really want to be doing is making sure that the calculator is in degrees. So go into menu, just go into normal run menu and click on shift setup, and down there at the bottom where it says angle, you want to change it to degrees, which is F1. Alright, yeah, that's one of the ways that sometimes people forget about that. So a really good way to check is that if you actually put down sine 30, you should get 0.5, and if you get 0.5, your calculator is in degrees. Alright, so let's get started with this first question here. Now with the first question, what we've got here is we've been asked to figure out what x is, and to figure out what x is, the first thing we need to figure out is we've got to figure out the length AC, and we're going to use the triangle ABC for this. So since 27 is the angle, this is hypotenuse, and then this is going to be opposite. We're going to be using sine rule for this. So we're going to have sine 27 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So we've got sine 27 is equal to AC, which is the opposite, divided by hypotenuse, which is 8. So we've got 8 sine 27 equals to AC. So 8 times sine 27, that's 3.632. So I've got AC is equal to 3.632. So what I've just figured out is the yellow line, which is AC. Now the next thing I'm going to figure out is I'm actually going to figure out what BC is, and for BC I could use trigonometry or Pythagoras. It really doesn't matter which one I use, so I'm going to use Pythagoras in this. So then I can say that BC squared plus AC squared equals 8 squared. So that's that A squared plus B squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So your AC is the yellow one, and BC is what is it? The base of that triangle, and then 8 obviously is this one here. So I'm using Pythagoras theorem there. So I've got BC squared equals 8 squared minus AC squared. Now we've figured out what AC is, which is 3.632 squared. So BC squared is equal to, I've not actually got rid of this answer from my calculator, so I'm just going to use that. I'm going to go 8 squared minus shift answer squared. So that's going to give me 50.809. And then I'm going to have BC is equal to square root of that. So square root of this is going to give me 7.128 meters. So I've just worked out what BC is. That's 7.128 meters. The next step I need to work out is CD, and to work out CD I'm going to use the 35 degrees. So this is from 35 degrees, that is opposite, and this becomes adjacent. So we're actually using tan. So we're going to get tan of 35 is equal to opposite over adjacent. And we can say that tan 35, opposite is the yellow line, which we already found, which was AC, which was 3.632, divided by adjacent, which happens to be CD, and that's the blue line right there. So rearranging this, I'm going to get CD is equal to 3.632 divided by tan 35. So CD is equal to, I'm just going to go back to this one here, and I'm going to divide by tan 35. And I'm going to get 5.187 meters. So this is the blue line. So if you look at it, then I can say that X is equal to BC plus CD. So I've got 7.128 plus 5.187. This is plus 7.128. That's going to give me 12.315 meters. So grades wise, you've got the final answer is going to get you a merit grade. As for achieved, there's quite a few options for you to get achieved. So if you get anything correct above this line, so any one of those values, so if you get AC, you could get an achieved. If you get BC, you could get an achieved. Or if you get CD, you could get an achieved as well. So yeah, just got to kind of answer that question fully to get the full merit grade. All right, next one. So with question B, part 1, we've been asked to figure out, find the size X of angle RCP. So when I look at RCP, I am looking at this particular triangle in yellow. And what I can see is that it's going to be an isosceles triangle, because this is the radius, this is also the radius. So CR and CP is the same, and because they're the same, you're going to get an isosceles triangle. So we can actually say that angle CRP is equal to 25 degrees because base angles of isosceles triangle are equal. So this angle here is 25 degrees, and then because it's 25 and 25, we can say that angle RCP equals 180 take away 25 take away 25, which is going to equal 130 degrees, and that's because angles in triangle equal to 180 degrees. So reasons not necessary, but do not accept correct answer only. Okay, so grades wise, this is actually worth an achieved. So if you just wrote down 130, that's not going to be enough. So you might have to show that the CRP is 25 and then RCP is 180 take away 50. Otherwise, it's not going to actually it's not going to be given as an achieved. Right, the next question is find the size of Y, the angle RCS. For this question, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of this, well, no, I'm going to get rid of this part here. Now, what I do know is that I've actually got two parallel lines here. So CP and RS are parallel lines, which means this angle here is going to be 25 degrees. And the reason it's 25 degrees, so it's basically these two angles here, they're alternate angles between parallel lines. They're actually equal. So I'm going to write that down first. And if I write that down, I'm going to get angle PRS equals 25 degrees because of alternate angles in parallel lines are equal. Then I know that angle, I'm trying to find that Y, so CRS. I could write angle CRS equals 25 plus 25, which equals to 50 degrees. So angle CRS is this part here. So that's angle CRS. That's actually 50 degrees because of that 25 and 25 put together. Now if that's 50 degrees, then I can say that angle CSR is equal to 50 degrees because base angles of isosceles triangle are equal. So I'm talking about this angle here. This is going to be 50 degrees. And the reason is because once again we have a isosceles triangle where this is the radius and where these two things these two lines are the radius, and so it forms an isosceles triangle. So we got 50 and 50, which means now we can actually figure out what angle Y is. Then angle Y is equal to 180, take away 50, take away 50, which actually gives you 80 degrees, and that's because angles in a triangle equals 180 degrees. Alright, so grades wise, what we're looking at, angle 80 found. Wow, this is only an achieved question. I kid you not, I thought it would be at least a merit, but no, this is just an achieved question right there. And once again, as long as you find that 80, reasons not necessary, but do not accept correct answer only. So you've got to get the 80 with some sort of working out to get that achieved grade for that. Question C, part 1. So for this question here, we've been asked to find the 5 metal arms here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at just the triangle that says DOE. So I'm only going to look at this triangle here right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little point, middle point here. I'm going to call this M, and I'm going to kind of split this up like this. Now what I do know is that angles around a point is 360 degrees. So if I do 360 divided by 5, I am going to get 72 degrees. So basically each of these things, these little angles here, are worth 72. If it's 72 and I've got halfway, I'm cutting a line, then I'm going to get 36 and 36. So once that's done, what I've got here is I could actually separate this as a triangle, which is going to look like this, MOE. And I know that the distance between ME is 6 meters because the full length is 12 meters and half of that is going to be 6, and the angle is 36 degrees, and I want to figure out what the hypotenuse is. So I've got opposite and hypotenuse as what I'm trying to figure out. So I've got sine 36 is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. Sine 36 is equal to 6 divided by h. H is what I'm trying to figure out, so I'm going to that's the metal arm itself. So I'm going to get 6 divided by sine 36. So when I do 6 divided by sine 36, I've got 10.2078. Yeah, 10.2078. And because I've got 5 arms, so I'm going to do 5 times h. So 5 times 10.2078 times that by 5. I'm going to get arms total is total equals 51.04 meters. So grades wise, finding the 10.2078, don't know why they have OM. Oh yeah, OM or OM. Okay, so 10.2078 is worth the achieved, 51.04 is worth the merit. Here's the next part of this question. Now with this question, what we've got is, it's an n-sided polygon, which means we don't actually know how many sides there are. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to recap what we've just done in the previous question. All right, so in the previous question we had like a 5-sided shape. So this was a 5-sided shape, and what we did was we did 360 degrees divided by 10, and we did it by 10 because, not 10, sorry, we did 360 divided by 5 first, and then we divided by 2 again, right? Because if you remember, there was there were 5 parts originally, but because we want to have that midpoint kind of going through there, we had, and if we kind of think about it, like if we have midpoints going everywhere, we're actually dividing it by 10. But it's the same thing as divide by 5 and dividing by 2. After that, it's the same thing as saying dividing by 10. So what we did for a 5-sided shape was we actually went 360 divided by 10 to get that 36 degrees. Then what we did was, depending on the size here, now if you look at it, this one has 2z as its, so remember in the previous one we had 12, but in our triangle we had 6, and we had 36 degrees as the angle. This is literally what we did in the previous question, right? So then we had to figure out what the hypotenuse was, and the hypotenuse was 6 divided by sine 36 is what we actually did originally. Now the reason I did it this way is because half the times when we do these type of questions where we have to substitute letters in, it's kind of good to have the working out on the side, because now if it's an n-sided shape, right? Now watch what happens, right? If I do an n-sided shape, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go 360 divided by 2n. Remember, it's 2n because like I said, when we did 360 divided by 5, we actually got 72, and then we had to divide it again by 2 to get that 36 degrees. So we actually have to divide it by 10. So in this case, if it's like a 6-sided shape, we would divide by 12. If it's 7-sided shape, we would divide by 14. And if it's n-sided shape, we would divide by 2n. That's one thing. Now also, in the original question, we had a length of 12. However, in this case, we've actually got 2z as our length. So if we were to draw this as a triangle, then this distance here would become z, because notice how we had 12 and then we had 6. So in this case, if the length is 2z, our little length is going to be z. As for the angle is 360 over 2n, which can be simplified as 180 over n. So this is 180 over n. And we're still trying to figure out what the h is. And we can say that h is equal to z divided by sine of 180 over n. So this is going to give us the actual length of that middle bar, right? And finally, because we have to calculate the total arms of the length, total length of the arms, so we're going to have total length of the arms depending on how many arms we have. Now 5-sided shape, we had 5 arms. So n-sided shape, we're going to have n arms multiplied by z sine of 180 divided by n. So grades wise, getting to this part here is going to be an excellence, E7/E8. Like if you make a minor mistake, you can get an E7 for it. Getting up to Z over that gets you a merit, and achieved is 360 over 2n. So this could be right there. You could be getting an achieved there. Okay, so that is question 1. Let's go to question 2. Question 2a, part 1. So we're looking at finding PRS. PRS is angle A that's been given, and we've got opposite here and we've got adjacent there, so we're going to be using tan. So we're going to get tan of A is equal to opposite over adjacent. So then what we have is tan of A is equal to 16 divided by 10, and then A is equal to inverse tan of 16 divided by 10. So we're going to get A is shift tan 16 over 10. We're going to get 57.99 or 58 degrees. Grades wise, we're going to get achieved for this question. Now, second part of the question. Right, to find what B is, I'm just going to kind of write out a couple of things here. The first thing is that we know that this is going to be 90 degrees, and these two angles here are going to be 90 degrees because the angle between a tangent and the radius is 90 degrees. So I'm going to write that down first. So angle CQT equals angle CPT, which equals to 90 degrees, and that's because we got angles between tangent and radius is 90. Now the second thing is that I know that this angle is 68 degrees, and if this is 68 degrees, this is going to be 2 times 68, whatever that is, 136, and that's because angle at center is twice that it's at the circumference. So then I can say angle QCP equals 136 degrees because angles at center is twice that at the circumference. Now once that's done, I also know that this shape here, this actually adds up to 360 degrees because it's a four-sided shape, a quadrilateral. So I can say that then angle PTQ, which equals to angle B, is equal to 360 take away 136 take away 90 take away 90. Take away 180, take away 136 is going to give me 44 degrees, and that's because angle sum of I always struggle with the spelling of this, quadrilateral, is 360 degrees. So 44 is the final answer that we're looking for. Grades wise, this is going to be a merit. You have to give at least one reason, and then either getting, if you just get 44 by itself without any reasoning, you get a achieved. 136 gets you an achieved as well, and that's question 2 part 2a part 2. So for this question, I know I can find this angle here, which is going to be 180 take away 72, which is going to be 108 degrees, and that's because opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral add to 180. So I'm going to do that first. So I've got angle PSR equals 108 degrees. I guess I could actually put down that 180 take away 72, which equals 108 degrees, because opposite angles in cyclic quad add to 180 degrees. Now once that's done, I can figure out what angle Y is. Angle Y is equal to 180 degrees, take away 108, take away 28. So 180, take away 108, take away 28, which is again equal to 54. Sorry, 44. What are the odds that two answers back to back is 44? This one I'm going to put angles in a triangle equal to 180 degrees. Reasons not necessary, but do not accept correct answer only. So this question is worth an achieved. I guess you kind of have to show some sort of working, right? So that's what this is. Cool. So next question, we are looking at finding the length of BP. So BP is this length, 25. Okay, so what we can do is, this is pretty much similar triangles, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to set it up like this. I am going to have BP. And again, the thing about similar triangles is like you can put it in any way you want. It almost works out. Like, so I could actually have all the yellows on the left hand side and the matching sides of it on the right hand side, and it'll still work out. Or I could do just the two lines that are like this equal to the two lines that are flat on the ground. So either way I do it, it should end up being the same. So I'm going to choose I'm going to show you guys both methods because that's the beauty of this. So I'm going to get BP over 25 equals 12 over 21. So then I can say that BP is equal to 12 times 25 divided by 21. 12 times 25 divided, 12 times 25 divided by 21 is 14 point. So BP is equal to 14.28. 286 meters, yeah. Now if I had done the other way, so if I did BP over 12 equals 25 divided by 21, then I'm going to get BP is equal to 25 times 12 over 21. And as you can see, it is exactly the same as this. I think similar triangles is just like super easy marks because all you have to do is just match the sides and divide it, and you can write the equation any way you want as long as you put the BP at like the unknown at the top left corner of that equation. Then you're pretty much good to go. Really interesting because like I've kind of solved it straight away in like 2 lines, and this is going to be a merit. Unfortunately, unless some people found the ratio, which is 1.75, you could do the ratio as well. So you could have actually done 21 divided by 12, which gives you that 1.75, and then if you go 25 divided by 1.75, you're going to get 14.28. So it's all the same thing, except in my method you kind of do it in like 2 steps. I'll show you guys what the answer schedule says. As you can see, they do this little scale factor and then they kind of do an extra bit to it. But with similar triangles, you can pretty much do what I've done here and just be done with it. Cool. So next question. Sorry guys, I don't know why the shading part of it didn't actually show up, but this is the perimeter of this shape is what we're trying to find out, which is MPQ. And we are actually giving our answers in terms of C. Well, that's a bit annoying, but that's fine. We can try and work it out. So, do we have anything else? No, we don't have anything else apart from the angles. Okay, so what we're going to have to do here is we are going to find out, I'm going to write these numbers, right? This is going to be side 1, side 2, and side 3. So we've got to work out these 3 sides. We probably need to work out side 4 as well. So I'm going to need side 4 as well. So there's 4 sides that we need to work out. Now the reason why I want number 4, so when I say number 4, the number 4 is actually from here to here. To work out number 2, I actually need I just realized I need a the fifth one, which is going to be all the way to the end there. Yeah, so 5 things that we need to actually work out. And then once we work them out, then we can actually start going through one at a time. So what I'm going to do is, first, I'm going to do the little triangle first, and then after that I'll do the big triangle, all right? So that way we can kind of get all the information that we actually need. So with the little triangle, I've got 42 degrees here. This is going to be C, and the sides I'm looking at is 4 and 3. So basically I'm looking at this blue triangle here. Now I'm going to kind of change, well, not change a few things. I'm just going to put a whole bunch of details here. So this is going to be opposite, this is going to be hypotenuse, and this is going to be adjacent. Now obviously I'm going to need both adjacent and hypotenuse, so I'm going to kind of do that first. So first I'm going to do the hypotenuse one. So sine 42 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Then I can say that hypotenuse is equal to opposite, which happens to be C, divided by sine 42. So then H is equal to C divided by sine 42. Now remember that it's actually 1 in the numerator, so I could actually do this. Now if I actually do sine 42, I am going to get 0.669. But if I do 1 divided by sine 42, because remember that there is a 1 in front of that C. Probably should put that in a different color. So there is a 1 in front of that. So 1 divided by sine 42 is equal to 1.49. So my H then is equal to 1.4945 C. I repeat the same step, but this time I'm going to use with adjacent and opposite. So that's going to be tan. So tan of 42 is equal to opposite over adjacent. Adjacent is equal to opposite divided by tan 42, and of course opposite is C, and of course I also have 1C, right? So then my adjacent is going to be 1 divided by tan 42, which is 1.1106 C. So at the moment what I've figured out is I've figured out what the adjacent is, so that's number 4. I can rub that out, and I'm going to write that up as 1.1106 C. I've figured out what 3 is, which is the hypotenuse in this case, which is going to be 1.4945 C. So I've figured out those 2 things. Next I'm going to work on the big triangle. So with the big triangle I've got 36 degrees, and once again opposite, I've got C as opposite, H and A, and this time I've got 36. So I'm going to repeat the process for the big triangle. So I've got sine 36 equals C divided opposite divided by H. So H is equal to opposite, which is C, divided by sine 36. Once again I've got 1 divided by sine 36, which is going to give me 1.7013 C. I'm going to repeat the same for adjacent. So tan 36 is equal to opposite over adjacent, and then adjacent is equal to C divided by tan 36. Adjacent is equal to, I'm going to do 1 divided by tan 36, which is 1.376. What do we got? 1.3764. So let's go back and put these numbers up again. So the hypotenuse, which was, I think in this case it was number 1 and 5. So the 1.7013 C is there, and then that number 5, which is that big distance there, which is 1.3764 C. So my length 2 there, which is PQ, so PQ is this part here, is equal to 1.3764c take away 1.1106c. So 1.3764 take away 1.1106. That's going to give me 0.2658c. Therefore, perimeter equals 0.2658c plus 1.7013c plus 1.4945c. And when I work out the totals, plus 1.7013 plus, I am going to get 3.4616c. Now, I know on first looks you're thinking, oh, this is quite a nasty question, but the reality is that, you know, I always say with these types of questions, just break it down into smaller triangles, and then once you break them down into smaller triangles, you can kind of slowly work your way through this, because all we're really doing here is just, you know, you just got like a couple of sine and tan Pythagoras, basic Pythagoras things that we're doing here. And I guess the trick is understanding that 1 over tan 42 could be written as a number in the numerator, and I think that's pretty much the trick that there is, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, grades wise, you might have got an answer of like, you might have actually done it all in fractions. If you did do that, you would have got like, I'll show you guys. You might have actually got this value here, which is c over 0.2889, because if you didn't actually do that 1 over the sine or tan, you're going to have numbers in the denominator, and you could have still used your calculator to kind of add those fractions together. So final grade is an excellence, finding with evidence of PQ. So getting up to here, you are looking at a merit, and any one of these 4 things that you have done here could get you an achieved for this question. Right, that's question 2. Off to question 3. So question 3, part A, what I've got here is, got to figure out the angle Z there. Okay, so first off, I know that this is going to be 82 degrees because they're corresponding angles, and then if this is 134, this is also going to be 134, corresponding angles again. Then I've got 82, 180 take away 82, which is going to be 98. That's going to be angles in a straight line. 180 take away 134 is going to be 46. Right, now I'm going to try this a slightly different way because you know, I just wanted to show all the angles first, and then now I'm going to start writing down the reasons. So first off, angle FGB is equal to 82 degrees, and that's 82 degrees because you've got corresponding angles between parallel lines. Next, I've got angle GBC equals 134 degrees. Once again, corresponding angles. God, I hate writing these reasons, eh? Corresponding angles between parallel lines. Once that's done, I've got angle AGB, which equals to 180 take away 82, and that's going to give me 98 degrees because angles in a straight line equals 180 degrees. And I'm going to repeat the process for angle GBA, which is going to be 180 take away 134, which gives me 46 degrees. And once again, that's angles on straight line equals 180 degrees. Now I've got all the angles that I need, which means angle Z is equal to 180 take away 98 take away 46, which is going to give me, let's just do that quickly here, 180 take away 98 take away 46. That's going to give me 36 degrees. and this is because angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. So grades wise, found with at least one reason is going to get you a merit. One relevant angle found with evidence is going to get you an achieved for this question. So that's question 3A. Let's go to the next one here. So calculate the length EG, which is a diameter. I think we're actually working with a right angle triangle here, and the reason is because we've got angles in a semicircle is 90 degrees. So this right here is going to be 90 degrees, and so we're going to write that down first. So we've got GHE equals 90 degrees because angles in semicircle equals 90 degrees. So once we've got the 90 degrees, next thing we can do is we can actually say that EH squared plus HG squared equals EG squared. EH is 8 squared plus 12 squared equals EG squared. So we're going to work this out in the calculator. So we've got 8 times 8 plus 12 times 12. That's 208. So EG squared is equal to 208, and EG is equal to square root of 208, which is 14.42. So we can say that EG is equal to 14.42, is it centimeters? Centimeters. So this question here is worth an achieved. Now the EG 90 degrees is not necessary. So they kind of do say that it's not necessary, so we don't actually need to worry about it. Part 2 of this question. So with part 2 of this question, we're asked to figure out what X is. And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to look at that first triangle that we were looking at before, the right angle triangle. Because what I could do is step 1, figure out this angle here, which is step 1. Once I figure out that angle, I know that it'll be the same as this angle because there are angles at this on the same arc, same segment, whichever one you want to call it. And then once we have that, we could actually figure out what angle 3 is using the blue triangle, which adds up to 180 degrees. So that's what we're going to do here. Step 1 is look at that little triangle, yellow triangle, where we're trying to figure out what angle. I'm going to call it X right now. So that's the angle. I've got opposite and I've got adjacent. So tan of X is equal to opposite over adjacent. Tan of X is equal to 8 over 12, and then X is equal to inverse tan of 8 over 12. So shift tan of 8 divided by 12, that's going to give me 33.7 degrees. So what angle X, which is basically EGH, is equal to 33.7 degrees. Now then I can say that angle EFH equals to 33.7 degrees because it is angles in the same arc, segment, whichever one you want to call it. Segment are equal. Then I could say that angle X is equal to 180, take away 75, take away 33.7. 80, take away 75, take away 33.7. That's going to give me 71.3 degrees, and that's because angles in a triangle equal to 180 degrees. So once again, grades wise, we're looking at 71.3 as a merit. And finding out that 33.7 is going to get you an achieved. You could have found other angles as well, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this question. Question C. Alright guys, now I know that this question seems to give a lot of people grief, right? And I can understand why, because you're like, oh, I hate letters, you know, I just wish they would have numbers. And the truth is, like, I would actually say do this question with numbers, right? Because when you start playing around with these questions with numbers, you kind of get an idea, and then you just replace the numbers with X. So let me give you kind of an example, right? So I'm going to start doing this. Let's say, for example, I call this 30 degrees. If this is 30 degrees, then I know that on the other side, this part is equal to 30 degrees. And the reason it's equal to 30 degrees is because it's base angles of an isosceles triangle. So those two things that I know. The next thing is I also know that we've got a semicircle here. Because we've got a semicircle here, I know that this angle here for this triangle FGH, that's going to be 90 degrees. So that's my second point that I need to know. Once I know that 90 degrees is that angle, then I know that this one here is going to be 60 degrees. And if this is 60 degrees, because again, these are the radius, this is also going to be 60 degrees. And then finally, angles inside a triangle add to 180, and I can go 60, 180 take away 60 and take away 60 is 60. So I can see the link between, that's a terrible color to use. So I can straight away see the link between those two angles. I can actually say y is equal to 2x. And you can try this with different numbers, right? And then you can kind of get an idea of it. But basically, this is the idea I'm going to use to try and work out these angles. So let's kind of do this, but this time I'm going to do it in terms of x. So firstly, I know that this angle here is going to be x. So that's angle FGC. No, that's not G. Angle FGC is going to equal x degrees. And that's because angles, base angles in isosceles triangle are equal. So then I can say angle FGH is equal to 90 degrees. And that's because angles in a semicircle equal 90 degrees. I just realized I actually did it in a very long method. We could have probably done a really shortcut method as well. No, it's fine. I'll actually do show you guys the other method as well. So so what I could do then is I could actually say angle CGH equals 90 minus x, which is that 60 degrees. And that's because well, 90 minus x, well, we've already kind of did that, which we don't really need a reason for, because we already have shown that FGH is equal to 90 degrees. So then we can say angle GHC is equal to 90 minus x as well, because that's going to have base angles in iso triangle are equal. And then finally you could say angle Y is equal to 180 take away 90 minus x, take away 90 minus x, because angles in triangle equal to 180. And when we do this, we're going to get 180 take away 90 plus x, take away 90 plus x, and our 180 minus 90 is 0. So all we're left with is 2x. Now this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing this is I could have calculated this green line here. In fact, I could have actually gone with exterior angles is equal to sum of two interior angles, because that's probably the easiest one to do here, which I'm just having a look at. I don't think they even mentioned that in the answer schedule. No, because remember, when you have a triangle like this, so this is where exterior angle is the sum of two interior angles. So we could have done that because we actually figured out that this is x and x. So we could have actually said that y is equal to 2x as exterior angle is sum of two interior angles. The other way you could have done it also is you could have actually done this angle here, which is 180 take away 2x. So you could have said angle GCF equals 180 take away 2x because of angles in triangle equal to 180. Then you could have said angle Y is equal to 180 minus angle GCF, which is 180 take away 180 minus 2x. And if we expand the brackets, we are going to get plus 2x, and you're going to get plus 2x. So basically I've shown you guys like 3 different ways of doing this particular question from this point. So this is one way of looking at it. This is another way of looking at this question, and then this one is a third way of looking at this question. So 3 different ways of doing this question. As long as you get y equals to 2x at the end and you've got some working and reasoning towards it, you will be looking at getting a merit. As for achieved, you must have either 90 minus x or the 180 minus 2x, which is this part here. So yeah, it's just like one extra step that prior to that getting to that 2x would actually get you an achieved. All right, last question. So with the last question, what we've got is find the distance and bearing of M from L. So we've got to work out the distance of M and L, and we've got to work out the bearing of M from L. So that's what it actually means. Now, I know I've done this question before in these types of questions in the live stream tutorials before, or even my old tutorials. My suggestion with this is try and put this triangle inside a big rectangle. All right, and you literally, and my suggestion is try and work out all the important bits and pieces that you need. So what we're going to do is I'm really just going to create this massive rectangle first. Something like this. And I'm just going to roughly sketch it, right? It's not really like accurate or anything like this, but this is just to give me an indication of what's happening. So here is my triangle. I know it's not pretty, but you get the idea. So 9.8 is this, 4.4 is this. What else do I have? I've got some angles here, 126. So firstly, this entire angle is 126, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 126 take away 90. So 126 take away 90 is going to give me 36 degrees. So this angle here is 36 degrees, because remember that this part here is 90. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work out what this angle here is. And the way I'm going to do it is from around all the way up to here, which is 126 plus 111. And I know that 3/4 of the way is 270, so I'm going to go 270 take away 111 take away 126, and that's going to give me 33 degrees. So I'm just going to get rid of a few of these little things just after I've shown you guys how to actually calculate those angles. So I've done all of that. Cool. So next thing is what I need to do now is I need to figure out a few of these lengths to try and work out that bottom triangle. So let me just pause was what I was about to say before I paused, but basically I'm going to figure out all of those what do we got, 1 2 3 4 5 6 measurements that I need to figure out. So maybe I'm going to call them some names here. Now let's just break it down into 3 triangles, and I'm going to figure out each of these triangles. All right, so first off, I've got this green triangle, so I need to work out the 2 sides. Then I've got the blue triangle. Then I've got the pink triangle here. So I'm going to have to work out the green and blue triangle first to figure out what the pink triangle's measurements are. So we'll start off with the green triangle, because this is 4.4 and this is 33 degrees. So with that, I need to figure out what the opposite is, and also I need to figure out what the adjacent is. So I'm going to do that first. So I've got hypotenuse is here, so I'm going to use sine and cos. So first I'm going to work out sine of 33 equals opposite over hypotenuse. So hypotenuse times sine 33 is equal to opposite, and that is 4.4 times sine 33. So this is my first measurement, 4.4 times sine 33. And that's going to give me 2.396. So opposite is equal to 2.396. So this is the 2.396, and I'm going to write that down here as well, which is 2.396 kilometers. Now my next one is cos. So cos 33 equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and then hypotenuse times cos 33 equals adjacent. So I've got 4.4 times cos 33 is adjacent. So adjacent is equal to 4.4 times cos 33 is 3.69. So this is this distance here, which is going to be 3.69. So I've literally worked out what the green triangle's sides are. Now I need to work out the blue triangle's one. So this is the green triangle. Now I'm going to work out the blue triangle. And with the blue triangle, I've got 36 degrees and 9.8. And once again, I've got opposite and adjacent. So again, same thing. So I'm going to do sine of 36 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And remember that the hypotenuse is 9.8. So we've got, wrong color, let's get rid of that. H sine 36 is equal to opposite. Now the H is equal to 9.8. Sine 36 is opposite. So I'm going to get 9.8 sine 36 is 5.76. So 5.76 is the opposite, which is here. That's 5.76. Next, I'm going to do cos 36 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So hypotenuse times cos 36 is adjacent. I've got 9.8 cos 36 is adjacent, and then adjacent is equal to 9.8 cos 36, and that's going to give me 7.93. So 7.93 is the adjacent. All right, so now if I look at the pink triangle's base, that's going to be 3.69 plus 7.93. So 3.69 plus 7.93, which is going to be 11.62. Then I've got to worry about the pink triangle's height, which is going to be 5.76 minus 2.396, which is 5.76 minus 2.396 is going to give me 3.364. So I've got now the pink triangle's base and height, which means I should now be able to work out the distance of M and L, because M and L, remember that M is here and L is here. M and L is the hypotenuse of the pink triangle. So I can say then ML squared is equal to 3.364 squared plus 11.62 squared. So I'm just going to put that all in one shot, so I'm not wasting time. So I've got in my brackets, I've got 3.364 squared plus 11.62 squared, and that's going to give me 12.097. So ML is equal to 12.097 meters. And now I need to figure out what the bearing is. Now to figure out what the bearing is, remember that I've already got 270 degrees up to here, and I need to figure out what this angle X is. And once I figure out what that angle X is, then I can add it up and I'll have my bearing. Now to figure out the angle X, I am going to use this as opposite, this as adjacent. So I've got tan of X is equal to opposite over adjacent. So tan of X is equal to 3.364 divided by 11.62, and then X is equal to inverse tan of 3.364 divided by 11.62, and I'm going to get what X is. So shift tan of 3.364 divided by 11.62, and that's going to give me 16.1 degrees. So then I can say that bearing of M from L is the 270 degrees plus 16.1 degrees, which equals to 286.1 degrees. Now folks, I don't know why, but like bearings question is, I feel that it's one of the most easiest excellence question you'll get in all algebra, tables, equation, chance and data, geometric reason put together. Because all it is that you just need to kind of split that bearing question into 3 triangles, work out all the sides, and then put them all together, and you're pretty much good to go. All right, and I think every year they've had a bearings question. And it's just something you just it's one of those easy questions after you do like a few of them. I have done like a bearings tutorial before, like I think it's called bearings 1, 2, 3. Go check it out if you are not sure, and I'll tell you it's the easiest excellence question that you could potentially get. All right, so grades wise, blah blah blah, E8 286 and correct. So you've got to get the correct bearing and the correct distance to get an E7, or E8 is actually getting both of those correct. E7 is like when you get one of them with a minor mistake. The 3.364 could get you a merit, or 11.62 could get you a merit. The 12.097 could also get you a merit, finding those distances. As for the achieved, basically any of these 4 calculations that we did here could actually get you an achieved. And that brings us to the end of this paper, folks. So was actually a pretty straightforward paper, to be honest. You know, there was no curveballs here or there. So yeah, so with those kind of like those questions where you have to write the, like, you know, y equals in terms of x or c or whatever that is, sometimes putting numbers in there and trying to work through them first and see what you get, and then substitute the letters in, you're almost kind of guaranteed to work how to get to that final answer. The other thing I'd also recommend is, like, sometimes you can forget reasons, but you might not remember the exact reasons, but you probably will still remember, like, I know that angles in a straight line adds up to 180, but yeah, I know that's an easy one to say, but like sometimes I like to work out the answers first. Once I work out the answers, then I can remember the reasons as to why. Yeah, and those are some of the things that I would actually suggest to you guys going into this exam. And also, please don't forget to change your calculators into degrees, especially after you reset your calculators. So that's it. Good luck for your exams. Hey guys, that is basically it for this video. As always, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and of course subscribe to keep up with the latest content. There should be some playlists popping up. Check them out. Great revision material. And as always, thank you for watching.